this is Stephanie Ortega, and you're listening to the Remix Movement Podcast.
Episode number 13,
oh
guys.
my God, for a second, I don't know what happened there.
You took a pause, so I came in.
You know, I'm so sorry. I was daydreaming.
What were you daydreaming
I was
about?
like, oh my gosh, tomorrow's the last day of February.
That's it.
I don't like. I don't know what happened there. I was just like, woo! Oh my gosh.
I mean, how often does this happen?
That the end of February comes?
No, well, this year's a little bit different, right?
Oh, it's a leap year.
It is.
It is a leap year. Okay. It happens once every 4 years.
Once every 4.
Every 4 years. So happy birthday to all of my leap year babies and people that have birthdays on the 29th of February.
How cool is that?
I don't think it's that cool.
I think so.
You should ask my cousin's daughter if it's cool, because I don't think she thinks it's cool.
I mean, if I was a leap year baby, I would think that's pretty cool. Seeing how...
So I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Her driver's license, when she gets one,
Yes.
will say February 29.
Right.
Okay. She will think that she is 18 when she gets it, if she gets it at 18.
Okay.
But she will only be
Doing the math.
4.5.
4.5 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Like right now,
Who else can say that?
it's just, it's, I don't know, like her mom, my cousin will celebrate her birthday either on the 28th or March 1st.
Yeah, I mean, you can...
So she doesn't have a set day. She just has like, all right, my birthday's coming up. Whichever day falls close to a Friday or Saturday, that's when I'm going to celebrate.
To me, that sounds awesome.
But she's going to be 3 tomorrow.
Okay.
But really, she's going to be 12.
Sweet.
So, I mean, it is a leap year. I think it's really cool that it's a leap year. It's just really weird. I know for her, she thinks it's odd. I mean, I don't think my cousin thought she was going to give birth to the child, to my cousin on the 29th. It just happened that way.
I mean, yeah, God had a plan.
Yeah, God had a plan. But happy birthday anyways to those people that are, leap year birthdays.
Yes,
I
happy
think that
birthday.
to Lewis, that is very fantastic. And we hope it's fantastic for you.
Yeah, I don't see why not. It would be somebody's birthday.
Yeah. But while we're talking about leap, we totally missed out on the challenge. So let's go back to the challenge from last episode, because we're talking about leap year and we totally forgot about the challenge from the last episode.
Okay, let's talk about it.
All right. So the challenge was find out what 2 areas in your life you want to go deeper in your relationship with God. So I will start.
Sure.
I want to go deeper in my trust with God.
That was one of mine.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I feel like trust is an area that I think everybody could probably have that on their list.
Sure.
I think sometimes it's hard to trust God because you want to do things on your own, and sometimes you just have to let go and let God.
That's a natural thing, right? Like,
I think it is. I think it's just you want to have control.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to trust. So I feel like I need to just trust God in this time of my life, in this season that I'm in. So that's one area I had. And then the second area was in my prayer life. So I want to continue to work on my prayer life. I want to continue to just pray anywhere and everywhere and just like let it be a habit and continuously pray in a day.
Okay.
I would like personally, like if I start the day and I'm continuing the day and I'm meditating on him, I want to do it like from the moment that I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. I think that would be really good in my relationship with God so that I get to know him better.
Absolutely.
All right. So what are yours? So let's say trust is one of yours.
Trust, yeah.
And the second one?
The second one I chose financial.
Financial. So
Yeah.
you want God to do...
Yes, I want him to kind of just be in the middle of everything in my
your finances.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well,
And
that's a good one.
That kind of goes hand in hand with trust.
It does. It does go hand in hand.
Yeah, if you think about it. So
but I think finances has a little bit more to do with dollar signs.
No, it does. Right.
Trust can be spiritual, mental, physical.
Well,
it could go to anywhere.
Right. Well, I'm using trust in God to manage my financial situations.
Yes.
So
I think that's really good. I think it might be some that our listeners are thinking that's an area that they need to work on too.
Sure. I mean, at least we were talking about me. But no.
Listen,
maybe our listeners as well. I mean,
it's a common area that people might, want to.
For sure. And it's almost like killing two birds with one stone in that situation. So
yeah, and you know what? Since I'm married to you, if God blesses you financially, He blesses my house.
There we go.
I receive it.
Yes.
Yes, Lewis. Yes, Jesus. Oh man, that's funny. So we hope that challenge was really good for you guys. We hope you guys continue to think of those areas that you want. Maybe there's more than 2 areas.
Sure.
So if there's more than 2 areas, like keep it going as long as you continue with your deeper relationship with God.
Absolutely.
All right. So Lewis, you better take a leap.
Okay.
You better take a leap. That's the title.
Let me take a leap.
But when I say you better take a leap, that's going to be, you guys are going to hear me saying this all the time. You better take a leap of faith. You better take a leap of faith.
You know what's funny? The first thing I thought about was like jumping off a bridge.
No, why would you think that? Guys, do not do that.
No, please do not.
Do not do that. Your life is important. So we don't want to hear any tragic accidents or losses due to what we're thinking of.
No, I mean, that's what I was thinking.
Okay,
like, when I hear that, I'm like,
well, because you think of
jump off a bridge.
Because when you think of leap, you think of jump.
Yes.
But you know what? That's really important because we're not saying take a step of faith, which is like a little step.
Right.
We're saying take a leap of faith. You better take a leap.
Yeah, which requires more movement in your body.
That's really good. That is really good. So I can understand why you would think of jump. I don't like the rest of what you said, but
the bridge part is kind
jump.
of. Do you ever remember having that one teacher that would tell you, like, if your friends jumped off a bridge, would you jump off with them?
I don't think they say that now anymore because
maybe they're not allowed to.
I think now in the cultural society right now with suicidal rates going higher, I feel like they probably would not do that.
Yeah.
And they're a lot more in, because I have a friend who's a teacher and they're a lot more into like the psychology of how a kid is taught. And I don't think she's telling them if Henry jumped off a bridge, would you follow Henry even though he's your friend? I don't think psychologically they're allowing the teachers to say that.
Probably not. But I specifically remember one teacher that would say that to me, and I specifically remember this moment where I was like, well, if they're jumping off a bridge, maybe I should too. And
peer pressure. I'm just gonna say that's peer pressure.
No, like I think she didn't know how to. As far as I remember,
she was shocked.
She didn't know how to respond to that because she was waiting for me to say no. And I was like, well, they must be jumping off for a good reason. So let me jump off too.
Okay, guys. Again, we do not want you to take this advice.
Absolutely.
Do not take this advice. But what I mean is, when I say leap does mean jump.
Yes.
It doesn't mean a step. So I think that's very important. We're not talking about take a step of faith. We're doing something a little bit more radical that requires a little bit more attention.
Yes.
So you better take a leap of faith. That's what we're going to talk about in honor of leap year. It just makes sense. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to start and just give you guys examples of what taking a leap of faith can do and what it is. All of these examples are in the Bible, and we'll talk a little bit about each and every one of them.
Okay.
All right.
Let's get to
so
it.
the
Let's
first
jump
one,
into it.
Get it? Let's
jump.
jump.
Hold on. Wait. Is it this one? No. There it is.
The one with the people laughing actually made sense.
Oh, okay. Well, let's jump into it.
There you go. Let's take a leap of faith.
That deserves one of these. No.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I just had to play with this.
I didn't even know you had crickets.
Yeah, it's a sound in this machine that
you always find the most convenient sounds when I'm talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was pre-programmed.
I feel like you did this on purpose.
No, it just, I don't know. It just comes with a bunch of sounds.
All right. Well, the first one is the Israelites who crossed the Red Sea.
Okay.
So when the Israelites crossed the Red Sea, they took a leap of faith, and it led to their escape from Pharaoh and their freedom.
Yes.
So you can find this in Exodus 14. And, guys, let's backtrack. Faith is believing what is not done, hoping for something that hasn't happened yet. And it has a lot to do with trust.
Yes, it does.
Okay. So I just wanted to say that because a lot of people might not understand why I say this. We have faith, but sometimes you need movement for faith to happen.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sometimes you need
Action.
to, perform an action. Sometimes you need to do your homework and you need to find out, okay, well, what can I do in this trusting process so I can have the faith? Okay. And sometimes God will not make the miracle that you want until you actually physically, emotionally, and spiritually figure out a way of how to get trust in there. Okay.
Yep.
Believing and hoping and knowing that something's going to happen even when it hasn't happened is faith. We have people that are believing they're going to have their kids soon. We have people believing they're going to get a job soon. We have people believing that they're going to get a new car soon. They're believing all these things. They're hoping these things. They have faith for this because they don't have it, right? So like if you hear someone saying, well, I hope I get a new house, because the house that I'm in right now is, broken. It has a bunch of things that need to get fixed because I can't afford it. Whatever the reason is, they have faith that even though they can't see that house, they know that house is going to come.
It's coming. Yep.
So maybe they're shopping, right? Maybe their action and trust is just taking a drive in the area that they want to live in. Their leap of faith is, let me walk around the area that I want to move to. And God will take that leap of faith and do something.
Proclaiming.
Exactly. It's proclaiming, declaring, it's acting as if you have it, even though you don't have it.
Yep.
Okay. So I just wanted to preface what that means, because when we see in Exodus 14 that the Israelites crossed the Red Sea, literally the Red Sea had divided.
Yeah.
Completely divided, split right in the middle. And they needed a leap of faith to get through it. Because I'm here thinking whales, sharks, alligators. I'm here thinking like diseases that come from the sea, shell rock. I'm thinking all these things. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I wonder if it was worth crossing the Red Sea.
Well, yeah, they were trying to reach the promised land, so.
Well, at the moment they were trying to escape Pharaoh because Pharaoh was trying to get them back after they were able to escape.
Right.
But you know what? They took a leap of faith, and after they took the leap of faith, they got their freedom. And I think that's really important, and that speaks a lot to us too, because maybe you're taking a leap of faith and you're looking for breakthrough. Maybe you guys are trying to break through an old habit, an old custom, an old tradition, and you're trying to do exactly what the Israelites are. Like if God literally said, I'm going to split this in half for you, will you walk through? Like that's something that you are going to have to like really like show God like, okay, I'm going to take a leap of faith and I'm going to trust you and I'm going to walk through.
Right.
Not knowing what's going to happen at the end, because I don't think the Israelites knew that once they crossed the Red Sea, it was going to close back and kill every single person that was in there. All of like the Pharaoh's guards and men that were literally trying to find them, gone.
Yeah, yeah.
Completely dead. Like nobody survived.
I don't think anybody could survive that.
Nobody survived. So this was a leap of faith. And again, guys, that story is in Exodus 14 if you want to go ahead and read it. So the second leap, you better take a leap, Louis.
I'm jumping.
All right. Esther became queen.
Okay.
All right. Which led to her saving her people, the Jews, and she was only 14 years old.
Yep.
And this is going to be Esther chapter 1 through chapter 10. So basically the whole book of Esther. Mm-hmm. So we know Esther is a 14-year-old girl. Just a little synopsis for you guys. She's living with her cousin, and her cousin actually raised her. So it was like her father figure. And the king at the time had divorced his wife and was looking for a replacement queen,
A wife.
a replacement wife, a replacement queen,
Right.
okay, to take his ex's spot,
Yep.
okay? And it took a leap of faith for Esther to take the advice of her cousin, because it was actually her cousin's idea, like, hey, right now, our family is struggling. Our family, people are trying to kill the Jews, and our family are going through this. Why don't you consider becoming the queen? And she was only 14.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, Lewis, if somebody told you, and I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but if somebody told you, Lewis, I want you to run for mayor of this city, would you take that leap of faith? If it was somebody that you really knew, like if it was like, let's say
Right.
your mom and dad, let's say they were like, Lewis, listen, like we're going through a really hard time in our county, and we believe that you could do it.
Right.
Not knowing your experience, because let's say you don't have any experience whatsoever in that, area,
0.
but would you take that leap of faith if you believed that it was God talking through them?
Yeah, if I believed it was God talking through them, sure, absolutely.
But it would be a shock to you, right? You'd be like, "Psst,
Oh, of course.
mayor, me a mayor."
Yeah,
Like-
especially if I'm not into the whole politics.
Yeah, you're like, Dad, I work in aviation. What do I know about politics?
Right. Yeah.
Like, what am I gonna? And you know what? Esther probably felt that way. Esther was like, whoa, like, wow, whoa. You want me to be queen? And you know what? She became the queen.
She
There
did.
There
Yep.
was something about her that the king liked, and she was able to free and save her family. And she even like helped, her cousin out, because her cousin went through something with with the king's assistant, right hand. And she was like, bro, like he helped you out at one point. He saved you at one point, so definitely needed a leap of faith in that situation.
Absolutely.
So that's really good. Taking a leap of faith, guys, is not easy. Sometimes it'll sound like a crazy idea, but I think that's where the leap comes from.
Yeah, probably the crazier it feels.
Yeah, like it's like sometimes you will really need to like pray before you take a leap and be like, God, is this really you? And I think that's where the trust factor comes in. Like sometimes you guys are going to be like, God will talk to you and you'll be like, but God, really? Like, are you sure? And you know what? This might even happen like if you have enemies, right? I mean, not enemies, but if you have people that don't like you, and God's like, I want you to talk to them. And you're like, why? Like, we don't get along. Like, why I don't even like to be in the same room with her, and you want me to talk to them?
Yeah, it feels like you're put in a tough spot.
And you challenge who you are, and you challenge your relationship with God like that, because you're like, okay, if I obey God, I know that there's a reason why he tells me to do this, right? But then at the same time, you're like, you know what? I just got to take a leap, right?
Yeah, it takes action.
It takes action, okay? So number 3 is Peter walked on water. And this is going to be found in Matthew chapter 14, verse 22 to 29. Peter walked on water, took a leap of faith, which led him to see how faith can unleash the supernatural and cast away fear. Okay?
That's a big one.
So sometimes God will ask you to take a leap of faith in the midst of other people, and you will be the only person. And I feel like this happened, right? So Peter's in a boat with a few other people. Jesus is in the boat. There's a few people.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is seeing this storm going on. Everybody's here. Jesus says, Peter, come on out. And Peter goes ahead and he does it. Doesn't even hesitate. Like, that's a leap of faith. Like, in front of other people, though.
Right. It's defying, science and defying.
So, like, this kind of reminds me a little bit of the story of the woman with the issue of blood.
Oh, yeah.
Because she had to take a leap of faith. Like, literally, like, she was in the midst of a crowd. She was unclean because she was sick. She took a leap of faith and she touched his cloak. And what did she get? Her healing.
Her healing, yep.
Like, she took a leap of faith in the midst of other people, in the midst of like what society would say. And I feel like, again, guys, when you take a leap of faith, God is going to ask you to take a leap of faith in areas where other people are going to see. And that's not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing. Anytime that you show your faith in front of other people is not a bad thing. So don't be like fearful of like, oh, what they're going to say. Because you know what? Their opinion doesn't matter. God's opinion matters.
That's right.
All right. So take a leap of faith. Peter walks on water and he's able to see that, number one, he sees that Jesus is able to cast away his fear. And number two, he's able to see the miracle, something that was unheard of, unseen. Like Jesus is walking on water, but Peter is walking on water. Okay. So the last one I have is Saul was saved. Saul is Paul, guys. So I say Saul because Saul is the old guy who was persecuting people, the one that was literally killing Christians off, and he got saved.
Yep.
That's a leap of faith. Okay. And we see this in Acts chapter 9, verse 1 through 31. All right. Saul was saved, which led him to be preaching about Jesus to millions of people and becoming one of the most well-known preachers in history. And he took a leap of faith to stick to serving God and teaching his people instead of killing them. Like literally, he took a leap of faith and did like a 180. Like a legit 180, not a
Pretty
360,
much.
like a 180.
They didn't believe him either.
They didn't believe him. Like they were like, Saul? Like the one who was persecuting people? Like, are you sure? Like,
Yeah.
really? And then imagine all those people that felt fear in their heart because they knew that Saul was about to come to their town.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like if you know somebody who's known for killing people comes around and then all of a sudden you're like, he got saved? Like that's a leap of faith, because like literally after he got saved, he spent most of the time hanging out with the disciples and preaching about Jesus and literally converting people to come into, into Christ, and that took a giant leap of faith. So, hey guys, if you just received Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you took a leap of faith and we applaud you.
Yes. Oh, hold on. Oh, wrong one. Nope. There it is. I don't have this sound pad memorized yet, so
Okay.
bear with me.
Well, I was trying to make the distinction. I'm like looking at him like, all right, Lewis, they took a leap of faith and we applaud you.
Yeah.
So guys, no, honestly, you took a leap of faith by saying yes to God, but now you're going to take a leap of faith in other areas of your life that are just going to make you a stronger Christian.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I do want to, mention when you take a leap of faith, it requires two things. Okay. Super simple. Ready? Choosing to overcome your fear and sacrifice. And that's hard.
That is.
So both of these are really hard, actually. When you choose to overcome your fear, you're literally facing your fear and you need to take a leap. So like, for example, if you're afraid of heights, right? And you have to fly on an airplane and you're afraid of heights to be in an airplane. Let's say you're a person who doesn't like to be in an airplane. And you are literally like, God is saying, listen, I'm going to take you from one place to another place. You need to get on an airplane. You are facing your fears.
Yep.
You are challenging. You're taking a leap and choosing to overcome your fear. Okay, guys? And then sacrifice. When you take a leap, you're willing to sacrifice how you feel, your own emotions, your own mental thoughts. You choose to sacrifice it all to follow Jesus. And I feel like people nowadays, they hesitate on taking leaps of faith because they don't want to sacrifice anything. They just want everything handed to them. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like when you're trying to learn how to swim, There's certain people that they'll take steps. So like, let me take the first step and see if the water is cold. And let me take a second step and see if I can handle how deep it is. And let me take a third. And it takes them literally like, it happens to me. Listen, I will not jump in a pool. I'm not a person who would jump in a pool. I am not like taking a leap like that. Okay. But there are other people, I think Lewis is like this, where he literally jumps in a pool. Like, regardless, knowing if it's hot or cold, if it's dirty or it's clean. Like, he's like, all right, we're going to the pool. We're going to the pool. And he literally takes a leap and jumps in the pool.
Sure. Yeah.
That's a leap of faith. Like, that's sacrifice. Because you don't know what's going to be at the bottom of the pool. You don't know how deep it is. You don't know if it's cold. You know what I'm saying? And you take sacrifice, you know? And sometimes God doesn't call you to take steps. He doesn't want you to be like, oh, well, take a nibble of this and try this out before I handle this. Sometimes he'll be like, hey, I'm ready to move you to the next step and you just need to take a leap.
Yeah.
Like, you just got to do it.
And we got to break down our obstacles because we create obstacles
We do.
for ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
which is preventing us from reaching the blessing.
You know what? And I feel like a lot of people have new ideas and like new talents. They make their own obstacles before they even take a leap. So like, for example, right? Let's say like, you know how to play an instrument, right? And you taught yourself how to play it and you play it alone. And then like your mom's like, oh, you're really good. You should join the band at school. Like you create an obstacle in your head. Like, Ma, I don't want people to know that I play really good the guitar. Like, Mom, like, what are they going to say about me? Like, Mom, what if I go to a show and I make a mistake? Like, you cause all these obstacles before you even bother to sign up for a show.
It's the fear.
And it's the fear. Yeah. And you have, like I said, you have to choose to overcome your fear and you have to make sacrifices. Like, if you have a big idea, like, don't think that God is going to give you that big idea, like, in one shot. Like I told you, when you take a leap of faith, you got to put the work into it, you know? And you have to choose to trust God, to be like, you know what, God, I do trust you. Like, let me write down what it is that I want, right? So like for this podcast, okay? You guys know the Remix Movement was not a podcast 4 years ago.
Right.
The Remix Movement, I mean, we had a group of people. We lived in a different county. And it was basically like, let's do community service and do life together, right? And then God put us in a different situation and we moved. And all of a sudden, this idea of doing a podcast, like, came about. I mean, we would not have a podcast if we didn't take this leap of faith.
Right, yeah.
Like, this literally would not be possible. We could have been like, oh, but we don't have the time. Oh, we don't have the microphones. We don't have a location. We don't have a network to stream it. You know, like we had to literally learn, like there are free tools that you can use, free resources that you can use. There's a free streaming that you can, you know, send your podcast to different areas. And we had to put in the work. We had to take the leap of faith and say, okay, God, we want this ministry to keep going. And if this is the channel that you're using, you know, let's take a leap of faith and let's do it. And you guys know, you've heard it, you know, sometimes we don't get it all right.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, you know, our first few episodes are really short and then all of a sudden, like they got a little longer. And then all of a sudden, like you'll hear like, you know, we had one episode where we were literally talking at the end of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
While the music of the outro was playing.
We didn't even know.
And we didn't know. Like, you know, we took a leap of faith, but there's going to be mistakes.
Sure.
And there's going to be things that you can't control. But God will help you through it. Absolutely. And I feel like when you take a leap of faith, like that's the whole part of the faith. It's seeing the outcome before the outcome is even here. It's trusting God even before you see that your goals are being met. It's hoping that God is going to go take you from glory to glory even before you even hit the first note. That's what it is.
And a lot of it comes with obedience.
Obedience, yeah. So here is the equation, because I came up with an equation that I think is going to really help our listeners, right? So obedience plus faith equals God results. And I didn't say your results. I said God results.
Yeah, that's so good.
It's a difference, okay?
Absolutely.
So your obedience is your yes to what you want.
Right.
Your goal, your petition, your your big idea, your healing, your miracle, like your obedience is basically like saying yes to what God tells you to do. Right? So if God planted in you something that he wants you to do, like I said, a podcast or a book or an instrument he wants you to play, your obedience comes first. Okay? And then plus your faith and your leap of faith, right? Your trust in God, overcoming your fears, taking the sacrifice, moving forward, okay? And then that equals God results, not your results, because your results sometimes might be different compared to God results, right?
Yep.
Like sometimes God is telling you, hey, I want you to be a preacher. And like, you're like, no, God, I'm okay with being a teacher. Like, leave me in a little classroom. Let me be the host of a small Bible study. And God is like, no. The Bible study was a good stepping stone, but I have more for you. And God results might be bigger than your results, right?
Yep.
So like, here's what I'm thinking. And I know this is crazy, but I'm thinking, okay? So right now, the podcast is just audio.
Yes, it is.
Just audio. That's our results.
Right.
Right? But later on, if God, the same way he gave us all of the equipment and all of the new ideas and all the new things that he's giving us, says to us, no, but now I want you guys to take it a step further and do video, then we need to obey and have our faith ready.
That's right.
Right? So that's really an example for you guys to see. Like the equation is, obedience plus faith equals God results. Okay? And God rewards those that act in his faith. There's a connection between your faith and your obedience that only God can take to new heights. Okay? And, and that's just like what it is. Like sometimes your faith will do radical things. And I feel like sometimes your leap of faith will take the shape of something radical. Radical means something out of the box. Something that pushes and elevates what you had in mind. Okay? So, sometimes you just can't do what other people are telling you to do.
No.
Sometimes it's more than just writing down what you think is the best thing to do next. Sometimes you have to actually like, God, I don't want to just write it down. I want to say it over and over again until I believe it. So like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a process.
Like, especially for people that are dealing with like, if they're waiting for their miracle. So like, I always think of this, right? God, I'm going to have a family. I'm going to have a family. And now when I pray, I call them by their names and they're coming. Yes. And sometimes I'll lay my hands on my womb and I'm like, God, you're working and you're working. And people will look at me like I'm crazy. And like, I won't feel good from time to time, but I will literally physically put my hand on and they'll be like, what is she doing? And it's a radical thing. It's a radical faith that I'm doing so that God can do something.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's basically it. Like that's the whole, you better take a leap. That's it.
You better take a leap.
I hope these like examples that we had, you guys look into it. I'll go ahead and I'll share it also on Instagram and Facebook. So the challenge is take a leap of faith in one of your New Year's resolutions for this year. So now we're going to go back all the way to January, beginning of January 1st.
Yep.
We're ending the February.
Yep.
But we're going to go back to the beginning.
Okay.
So take a leap of faith in one of your goals. One of those goals that you have not yet accomplished. One of those goals that you feel like, man, God, like I can't get this together. Like I'm struggling to lose this weight. I'm struggling to go deeper in your word. I'm struggling, God, just to start to go back to school. Like whatever it is that you wrote it down at the beginning of the year and you're like, okay, God, I want to do this. Like whatever you feel like you need to work on, take a leap of faith. That's the challenge. Do something radical that will raise up your faith and allow for God to accomplish your New Year's resolution.
That's good.
I think that's really good.
Yep.
Like I'm already thinking, like, what am I going to do? Because I know I can't drink more water because I know that's cross-covered and good to go.
Right.
I know it doesn't have anything to do with me losing weight. So I really have to think about this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really has to be like God, I want this, and I'm going to do this so that my obedience and my faith can produce this result.
And not just good results, God results.
God results. You're right. Not good results, God results. Not 2 O's.
Right.
1 O.
That's right.
Wow. Good looking out. All right, guys. So thank you so very much. This was episode 13. And guys, you better take a leap.
Better take a leap.
Of faith.
That's right.
All right. Have a good day. Have a good weekend.
All right. Bye.
Enjoy your leap year.
Enjoy. Bye.
If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Remix Movement for more updates. Send us a DM with your feedback, questions, and any topics that you would like to hear in any of our future episodes. Thank you and God bless.